All right, everyone, we are back and excited to get started with our next client spotlight. We're excited to introduce Lithuania's National Exam Center with Asta and Gediminas. Sam, I'm going to hand this over to you to do introductions and then we'll get started.
Thank you. Sorry about that, some technical difficulties. Thank you, Ashley. We're really pleased to have Gediminas and Asta here with us today to talk about their experience using TAO within Lithuania's National Examination Center and kind of their story of digital transformation. So it's my pleasure to introduce them to you today. Gediminas Trakas has joined the early initiative of establishing and developing the National Mature Examination System in Lithuania, starting in 1997. And until 2005, worked as Deputy Director and Head of IT departments at the National Examination Center, focused on technology, IT, logistics, business process modeling, and implementation. From 2010, Gediminas brought ideas of e-assessment to the development project agenda for the improvement of the Matura examinations, and it joined the development team as a project manager. Since 2016, he has been acting as a consultant in the development and implementation of innovative exam technologies designed for the large-scale examinations and marking. We also have Dr. Asta Ranonytė here with us today. She's the head of the division for developing achievement assessment tools at the National Agency for Education, Lithuania's National Examination Center. Working in the field of assessment for more than 10 years, Asta is responsible for the Matura and Basic Achievement Assessment. During the last year, she has participated in the processes related to the implementation of the Project Matura work, e-marking of students' exam papers, and the promotion of e-testing formats. So now it's my pleasure to hand this off to Asta and Gediminas to start their presentation and get things started with their story. Thank you, guys.
It's a pleasure to start and to welcome everybody from Lithuania. And here we would like to share you the experience in our country, in our educational system. How do we use TAO platform, TAO customizations, and here we represent the National Agency for Education, and shortly we will introduce you the external assessment system in Lithuania, just to get the idea what is the scope of our system. And here you see the grades of our students which experience the e-testing here in Lithuania. And normally we start in our second grade. Students have opportunity in second, fourth, sixth, and eighth grade to get the feedback about their achievements to improve their results in educational process. Then we start testing in our 10th grade. We concentrate on the idea to get the certifications. And the 12th grade is Matura exams. And here we stopped a bit before moving to e-testing because still it is organized on the paper-based version. But if you could move further, Gediminas, we could show that in past 3 years, we made, I would use the tremendous jump, and we are organizing our e-testing for the 4th, 6th, and 8th grade and 10th grade students. And we organize not only Lithuanian language and math tests, but also concentrate on other subjects. And we prepare tests for the students with special needs and translate our tests to the languages of ethnic minorities. So the next one. And here we would like to show you the numbers of our last campaign, which we finished 2 weeks ago, because when the results are issued to schools, we just make the final bell in our campaign. But just to understand what is the amount of our campaigns, what is the scope of our works, we just present you that in April and in May, we had two huge stages of our e-assessment. Of course, if you asked the colleagues in OET company, they would say that we started much more earlier. We started in February or even in January to organize all the campaigns smoothly. But just here to present you the main numbers. As I mentioned, we are organizing reading, mathematics, and science for the students of 4th, 6th, and 8th grade, and they get the results to improve their educational results. Here we have a huge amount of tasks because they are adapted according to the requirements of different groups, language groups, special needs, and we deliver almost 260,000 of tests per month, and in 1 week, we jumped to another stage and we organized 10th grade testing in math and language. And here we had to concentrate much more seriously because these testings are not only for the improvement of results, but also for the certification. And here we had another aspect which separates this testing from the previous one, that we have both testing and grading, as our tests in the 10th grade are with open-ended format tasks. Gediminas, please introduce our digital transition program in past few years.
Yeah, thank you, Asta. So you mentioned that for the last 3 years, we have very intensive online assessment campaigns, but we have started far earlier about to think about the transition to digital assessment. And as you can see that the first phase of this program was in the 2011. And if you will look at the slide, you can see that all the time during this transition, we were accompanied by the TAO product family. So at the very beginning, we used the TAO Community Edition just to keep trying to pilot different types of testing techniques, and to introduce it as a platform or as a way of assessment tools to the educational community. So the TAO community version was perfect at the very beginning. Then in the middle of this transition program, we started our large-scale campaigns. What does it mean large? We tested all the cohort, all the population for students within 1 or 2 months. So the main intention was not to invest in the technical infrastructure, but to look more for the content of tests, for the content of assessment. So in that period, we got the services from TAO, from OET, and we used TAO Cloud infrastructure. And we asked for some customizations to adapt to our reality, to our specifics. And the last phase runs from the 2021. So from that time, we introduced the new module of manual scoring, which was necessary to get the complete picture of all assessment needs of our educational community. So that one jump, or not jump, but just new functionality, new model completed the whole ecosystem or the whole assessment system. So we are using TAO in different contexts, and here I just listed the main areas and the main TAO products or TAO names which were used. So for item authoring and item bank, we have a contract with OET and using TAO Enterprise, which is adapted to our content, to our needs. For the open test library, which is open for the society, for the teachers community, or for any student to try tests before they came to the campaigns, we use TAO Core or TAO Community Edition in our premises. And from this year, we started vocational certifications, where we have around 200 different tests, but with small numbers of students, because those vocational or professional qualifications, they are taken by professional school students in vocational schools, and this is based or is running on TAO Pro platform and is running throughout the year. So each week or each month, several tests are taken in this environment by vocational students, and the major part is TAO Cloud services and TAO Grader, which are used for the large-scale test delivery for the national assessment campaigns. And we would like to show a few examples of these use cases, and with few screenshots just to get the idea why we're using them and what are they meant by. So, Asta, could you just tell a few words about the needs which drove us to the ordering or asking to build this manual scoring model for national assessments?
You want me to share why we forced OIT company to work so hard to make us happy about the whole cycle of e-assessment system, because at the very beginning I've mentioned that we are covering with e-testing almost all the educational cycle of our secondary school. That's why we naturally met the requirements of our educational community, because they were in transition with us as national institution, and at the same time we are experiencing the transition to our renewed curriculum, which is based on the education and assessment of competences. That was the main reason why we had to ensure our community that if we move to e-assessment, it doesn't mean that we are reducing the possibilities to assess the whole range of our skills, of our competences, and we agreed with our community, with OET company, that we will have a manual grader just to ensure that our open-ended tasks, even if it is essay like we have in mother tongue language assessment component, it will be possible to grade it, and they will get the opportunity to use as much simple tool as we used to make functionalities in paper-based assessment version. And of course, the one another requirement was to get the functionalities which could ensure the quality of the marking process itself. As we mentioned, that these results are used not only for the feedback for students, but also for the certification of the achievements. And these results in few years will be used to make a decision. Is it possible for the student to continue his school in secondary level, or he will have to go to another educational institution. So about 1,000 of teachers participates in this manual grader format, and first we started with trial. Just a few teachers participated, and after we had success with the small group, we last year and this year we used this grader for the whole scope of tests and for the whole group of teachers. And Gediminas, could you just show us the functionalities of the grader to introduce it in?
So just to get the idea, what do we mean by saying that essay items or math items are scored manually? So the students, they take the test online and providing the open answers. And let's say for the essay items, they have an hour, let's say an hour and a half time to write a long text. And they providing these texts from TAO testing part, and TAO grader is used for the for the grading and marking these responses. So as you see that we try to ask for the very simple user interface in this case, and for very simple tools, the language teachers could easily and intuitively mark the text and write the numbers. So teachers have the highlighter, and they can highlight the text, highlight the student mistakes and errors in this text, and every highlighted color counts. And then they, using their marking instructions, their rubric descriptors, they can grade the script, grade the essay item by pressing numbers on the left side. So there is a possibility to show the rubric descriptors as well within this interface. So teachers, they can know they can see the requirements or the criteria how to mark and how to transform the markings to numbers. And they're using this interface for the grading of essay items. For the math items, it is very similar, and the main point was not only in the grading part of TAO platform, but to introduce this format to schools, which allows students to write mathematical notation within their responses. So students at the 10th grade, when they have to show their ability to prove the mathematical problems or to solve them and to show the solution, which is again is scored as well. So that opportunity was made in the TAO testing part, and the grader has those responses transferred, and teachers can monitor or can read them exactly as students wrote down. So teachers, they are scrolling student responses in the TAO grader and scoring them, scoring not only the final response, the final number or the final answer of the math problem, but the solution provided by the student itself. So those are two examples of scoring screenshots. And another one example will be from how we use the instant feedback during the testing of students. So usually the test completes with a score, and the student knows the final score in advance if the test is automatically scored. But we're not closing the test at the end of showing the score. So the student usually has their ability or opportunity to go back and to look at each item, and each item contains the feedback sentences, feedback text with the recommendations, with some notes what he or she did wrong or right, and what she or he has to improve. So that is at the item level. As the student can browse the items of the test at the end and find those feedback sentences. And another one is at the very end of the test. It could be shown as an instant report to the student, and the result is broken down to the levels of abilities that are measured by this test, or categories that are used for combining this test. And again, the student gets recommendations and gets feedback about his performance, his results. So these tests are created not only for getting the result, but for giving the feedback for students as well. So that is very important when we're using those instruments during the learning process, not only at the very end of testing campaigns or at the very end with the exams. And the open test library, which was mentioned at the beginning of this presentation. So we are using the TAO community edition to open the tests that are completed, that are used in our campaigns for public. And Asta, would you please tell a little bit more about the need of this test library?
And I shortly will introduce what is the idea to open these tests, because it's not only to make introduction what is about TAO platform, what are the functionalities, what are the possibilities for student to proceed the test, but we also use this tool to educate our teachers, because we understand that it is not enough to provide the test as the final result, but we have to reveal what is the idea, to show what is the difference between the knowledge and the skills. We want to reveal what are the differences between the tasks which are for the students with higher order skills. So we introduce short metadata to each task. We provide tasks for different grades and subjects, and it could be used for students individually, and the teachers can use this in educational process during their lessons. And finally, just to come, we would like to share the ideas which we learned during this process. And if you could show the final slide, we just want to share you that not only for preparing of this presentation, but for the preparing of future works with OET company and with our community here in Lithuania, we highlighted two main aspects: planning and communication. And if we are talking about planning, it's not only about inner planning with our schools, with municipalities, which are mostly responsible for the preparing of e-testing, but also it's about planning with OET company, because it's an external partner. And we got the new routine, new schedule, and we are very thankful because it helped us to organize all the processes in the order. And it helped us to move and to make the transition from paper-based testing to e-testing in a very short time. And there's one more factor of success is communication, not only with our partners, schools, headmasters, students and their parents, but also with our main stakeholders and even politicians, because all the transformations, all the new innovations, they come with time and money. And of course, when we need the new budget, when we need the more time to make some kind of changes, we have to explain what will be the benefits of e-transition, and main benefits which we can name at the moment is in short way, we can provide results in different kind of analysis, and we can provide the feedback which was shown to you in this illustration. So thank you very much once again for this opportunity to share, and for this case to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both so much for a great presentation. Again, some of those technical difficulties. Sorry about that with the echo. So we have a few minutes for questions, and we can also follow up with questions via email. Our speakers' email addresses are right at the bottom of this presentation. If we're moving into the next session, before any questions are asked, let me check the open questions. So it looks like we have a question from the audience. What kind of software can be linked in order to have a large choice of scoring from your experience?
So as far as I understand that, so the software that we're using for the scoring.
Oh, and yes, we can ask a voice question as well. Let me unmute Andre for this question. You should be able to ask your voice question.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Thank you. I think your presentation has got me so inspired and aspiring to take my country where your country is.
Thank you very much, Andre.
I think your email addresses are welcomed, but your time to chat is my question beyond the session. We in the south of Africa, South Africa, are looking to jump onto this digital transformation in assessment as a means of accelerating our educational goals and aspirations, and your lessons, as shared in the slides, I think needs a bit more time to unpack that with you. So my question to TAO, my question to the two presenters is, will you please, beyond your email and LinkedIn address, share your contact number? We need to talk. Thank you.
Of course, we can have a talk. And I've answered about the question about the computers and tablets, but it is related with the idea of our country that the schools are supplied much more with computers than with tablets. That's why computers are used much more often. And here is the question about the publishing test. I just want to be precise to understand. Publishing, it's not about the paper version. We are talking that after the campaigns, we reveal some tests for public usage, for schools, for students, for parents. Of course, even publishing houses are using some examples or some formats of our tasks. And here is a question about large student amount. And Gediminas, could you just tell in short way, how do we split our students?
So we have the TAO Cloud Services, and the main agreement is that we have around 10,000 concurrent users at the same time running the tests. But that is not the limit. The limit that we face is computers at schools. So firstly, when we tried to introduce the online assessment, we made a survey in schools how many working places or how many testing places they can offer to students. And so this number of 10,000 for our country is coming from the limitations of schools. So we are using so-called parallel forms and streams that say that we are dividing all the population of one grade into 3 major streams, and one stream or one part of it consisting up to 10,000 of students. They are sitting for the test at the same time. They are starting the test at the same time and running the test, taking the test at the same time. So we hope that this number will increase with the schools getting more resources for computers and better internet connections. But at the moment, we are quite satisfied by this approach. We're just dividing the population or the grade into parts and providing them the parallel form of tests at the same time.
Great. Thank you so much. And just to touch on, before we end our presentation here, just to touch on the question from Sarah, which says what kind of softwares can be linked to TAO in order to have a large choice of scoring. I misread that at the first. TAO Grader is our manual scoring software that Asta and Gediminas showed us today during their presentation. And that allows for complex human scoring to be added into the process for the end-to-end assessment cycle. And in addition to manual scoring, TAO automatically has built-in automatic grading software as well. And we'd be happy to follow up with more details and more information on those products case studies after the event. And then just to talk to Andre's point as well, Ashley has put into the chat that our solution specialist will be following up with you, and she'll share some details as well on case studies and becoming involved with the Flip Plus community, which is our open e-assessment community that we are a part of, run by a number of countries in Europe and across the globe. So we will share that information with you as well. And that is all the time we have for questions today. We will be following up and via email next week with the presentations as we discussed, and we look forward to kicking off our next session. Thank you again so much, Asta and Gediminas, for your time today and for your presentation.
Thank you very much.